Howdy boys, it's story time again, and I want to tell you a bit about a summer I spent with my dear Aunt Agnes and Uncle Herbert. Now they were a nice elderly couple with white hair and easygoing temperaments, but they did manage to rile each other's nerves now and again. They had a couple hundred acres down south where they farmed and raised a few animals, but Aunt Aggie was quite fond of her chickens and geese. In fact, she named each of them Geese. I believe there might have been 6 or 7 of them. Uncle Herbert tended to the farming and did the best she could around the farmhouse. You see, Agnes was a good God-fearing woman with a lot of good qualities, but those qualities did not include cooking. I won't say she was a terrible cook, but I can tell you she was never asked to host a church supper, and when family came to visit, the women would always bring potluck from their own ice boxes. Well, as I said, she was fond of her chickens and geese, and would mightily hate it when Herbert would show up to the house, toting a broke-neck chicken for her to pick and cook up. One bright sunny morning, she sent 13-year-old me down to the creek to pick elderberries. I picked them things till my fingers were numb and purple from their juice. I filled up the 2 big buckets she gave me and trotted back to the house where she was in the kitchen with a mess of pots and pans and sugar and who knows what else as she told me to go help Uncle Herbert down in the barn while she tended to her elderberry jelly. Now, I'd never had elderberry jelly before and figured it was a good thing. That way I would have no way of knowing how awful her version was compared to what it should taste like. I skedaddled down to the barn and helped pitch hay till it was lunchtime. Uncle Herbert was no fool and was well aware of his wife's cooking skills, or lack of them. Better watch them elderberries close, he told her, to which she replied she knew darn well how to fix jelly, and for him to leave the cooking to her. He winked at me and we went back to the barn to finish pitching hay. By the time she rang the dinner bell, I was plumb done out. I didn't think my skinny 13-year-old barn could hold me up as we trudged back up the hill to the house. We had what I recall as mystery meat and maybe dumplings, while she lined all the filled jars up on the counter like military soldiers. I was give out from all that hay work and was happy to climb into bed that night, but morning comes early on a farm. I woke to Herbert's loud pounding on the wall and was all sleepy-eyed when I met them in the kitchen. Aunt Agnes was about in tears as she emptied all that elderberry jelly back into the same buckets I used to pick them. The damn stuff fermented, Herbert told me. We need you to take these buckets to the end of the garden and dump them where we can't smell it from here. Well, boys, between you and me, I know Uncle Herbert would have happily disposed of that fermented juice into his own belly, but Agnes wouldn't allow what she called devil juice to be consumed on the farm. I did as I was told while Uncle jumped on his tractor and went back to his farm, tending while I finished my work baling hay. When he came back, he was chuckling and mumbling to himself about how them stupid geese had gobbled up that whole mess of elderberry jelly. But it was only funny until we broke for lunch and spotted all those geese laid out stone cold dead by the creek. She surely did it this time, he said aloud. She done poisoned all those geese and now we have to pluck them and she will have to get them ready for the freezer. Aunt Agnes bawled as the 3 of us defeathered each goose. Goodbye, Alfred, she told the last one. You've all been good friends. Herbert tried to hide his grin as he pointed for me to get back down to the barn. My aunt's face was all red and tear-stained as she drew water from the well, fixing to wash each goose before cutting them up for the freezer. I remember seeing her laying each goose on the picnic table before retreating into the house, probably to lament this mass geese suicide. I felt sorry for her, but knew Herbert was secretly planning to entertain his card buddies with this tale. Everyone in the county was well aware Aggie would never win a blue ribbon at the fair for her cooking abilities. It was sometime after supper, I remember because I was helping with the dishes, when I suddenly heard the biggest racket of noise and what sounded like old car horns outside the back door. Uncle Herbert broke into uncontrolled laughter as he pointed to a gaggle of naked geese squawking and scurrying their way across the backyard. They weren't dead, he yelled. They was dead drunk. Yes, boys, this is a true story, and if you enjoyed it and want to see more of these tales, kindly like and subscribe to this channel.